Hello. I think Hank is going to be late. But this is actually a convenient thing for me because I have not it's been a busy morning and I have not had the chance to go into the office. And so I'm going to be late for the actual recording of the podcast. So, and I don't know how to like tell Hank that. So I'm hoping that he's late enough that he will then feel like, oh, I'm so late. And then when I tell him that we're going to start the actual podcast recording late, he'll be like, well, I was late. So yeah, that's my big ambition here. I thought that I was going to be able to go to the office, but I'm not. I just did not get there this morning. Amanda says that we can tell him for you, which is a great idea. So if somebody could mention that to him, Allison agrees. Great. So tell him for me. Cameron asks, did you visit Rax? Great question, Cameron. And the answer is that I once again failed to commit to the bit. So I was in Ohio, what feels like 6 months ago, but was actually probably 3 weeks ago. Hold on, there's an exciting update about the Bain Mausoleum from my mother. Okay. She said that they owned a cleaning service and their logo. Oh, okay. All right. So you remember that mausoleum in Hank's video? The Bain Mausoleum. We didn't get into the details of the Bain Mausoleum, but the whole backstory is incredible. At any rate, that leprechaun was part of the company's logo, although I believe in the mausoleum the leprechaun is smoking, which I don't believe the leprechaun is in the logo. But my mom has become obsessed with why am I so grainy? And why is my face so big? I don't understand what's happening. But it is happening. So I apologize for the largeness of my face. But so if you've seen the video, and now there's a lot of texting going on. Okay, so basically it looks like a regular mausoleum. You walk up to it, and I'd never done this. I mean, I go to Crown Hill, a couple times a week. How do I make it stop binging? Does anyone know? I don't know how to make it stop binging, so I just have to hope that I stop receiving text messages from my mom about the Bain Mausoleum so that I can tell you this story. So if you saw the most recent Vlogbrothers video, you saw that there is a mausoleum for a family called Bain. It is, I think, the last mausoleum that was built at Crown Hill, and it is incredibly expensive to make a mausoleum in the 21st century. It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars, I think. And everything about this mausoleum is amazing. It's beautiful and very neoclassical. And I walk past it, I don't know, like twice a week, because it's on the way up to the top of the hill, which is the highest point in Indianapolis. Essentially, the only way you can like walk or run up a hill in the entire city is to go to the cemetery in Indianapolis. And so I've walked past this Bain Mausoleum hundreds of times. And what I've always thought was so interesting about it is that outside of the mausoleum, there's like a little stairway or like a little walkway that leads up to the actual mausoleum, which I've never really approached because, like, I don't know, I just never thought to. But there's a sign at the front of the walkway that basically says, like, we'd like to thank all of our family and friends and customers for allowing us to live our dreams. And I'm like, this is your dream, to be buried on the hill, to like make it to the Crown Hill part of Crown Hill? You're still dead. Anyway, that's what I always thought was interesting about it. Then my brother, because he's a very curious person, when we took him to Crown Hill over Thanksgiving, he actually like walked up and looked in, and the inside, I mean, the part of it that's in the video that like Hank was able to capture with his camera is astonishing, but the rest of it that like he couldn't figure out how to get the lens to like see all of the rest of the stained glass image is even more mind-blowing. There's a raccoon sitting at the bottom of a quarter rainbow, and the raccoon sort of looks like he's like partied a little too much. And there's all kinds of it sort of looks like a Grateful Dead advertisement or something. It is astonishing. My mom is still texting me. And I mean, I I can't repeat what I said when I first saw it, but it was amazing. Weird, super weird. And anyway, my dad was like, "Oh, that's because my dad's from Indianapolis. My dad's like, that's because the Bain Company logo was a leprechaun." And we were like, "No, it's not." And I Googled it and I showed it to them and I was like, "Look, it's not a leprechaun. That's This obviously is not like a company logo reference. This is some kind of weird psychedelic, who the hell knows reference." I'm talking about, why is your head a normal size and mine is big and also like out of focus?
I don't know. Your head is big. Your head is definitely out of focus. Whether or not it's big, I think that is.
I mean, the camera is extremely far away from me, and I've been on Zoom calls over the last 2 days repeatedly where my head wasn't this large and the camera was much closer to me.
John, I don't know how anything works. Are you sure you're just not really big right now? Because like usually in Zoom calls, you see it's a smaller window.
Let me try that. Look at that.
Oh, how do you do that? I want to do that.
Look at that. No, you can't. I'm not going to teach you how. Hey, look. Hey, Hank, could you look at the comments real quick while I finish? Somebody says I should clean my webcam, which probably would work, but I think this looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Will you look at the camera? Will you look at the comments real quick and read some comments? Just try to get a handle on the comments while I finish telling the story about the Bain Mausoleum.
Apparently oh yes. Oh, you're gonna keep telling the story. Okay, continue.
So then, anyway, my mom just texted and was like, "You're right that the Bain Company logo now does not have a leprechaun." But we all made fun of my dad for like this ludicrous idea that this was the Bain Company logo, and then they just unearthed the Bain Company logo from the 1990s and early 2000s, and it is a leprechaun. Now, the leprechaun in the Bain Company logo is not smoking, which I believe the leprechaun inside the mausoleum is.
I don't know about that.
I am pretty sure the leprechaun is smoking a pipe.
Oh, okay. Maybe a pipe.
Yeah, but
I'm
like
a video right now.
Huh?
Yeah, he's smoking a pipe. He's got a little pipe. He's got a smiling pipe, and he's tipping his hat.
Okay, did you see the comments?
Oh, well, I got distracted by this. It's so Bain, there was a bunch of different Bain companies, and this was one of them that had this leprechaun logo. So the Bain Clean Systems, as Paul C has correctly pointed out. I don't know how you figured that out so quickly.
They probably Googled Bain leprechaun, which somehow we failed to do.
Peyton would like to know if we have ever tried to unlock.
Did you not see the comments?
What? I'm looking at the comments.
Okay.
What did I miss?
You might have to scroll up a little bit.
Chandler Bing, put do not disturb on.
I don't know how to do that. That sounds like a really good idea. Messages, services, preferences. Oh God! Play sound effects.
What is happening?
They're trying to tell you, Hank, that I'm going to be late for the podcast, as evidenced by the fact that, as you can tell, I'm at home, not at the office, because it's been a busy morning and I did not make it into the office. I was trying to let them tell you so that you would be let down by them instead of by me directly, but the bit did not work, despite the hard work of everybody. I mean, literally 85% of the comments are John is going to be late to record the podcast. I am looking at the comments and there are hardly any comments that are not John is going to be late to the podcast. I don't know how you found comments that weren't John is going to be late to the podcast.
And I don't know, some of them were John is going to be late, but a lot of them were like trying to explain the situation.
All of them are John is going to be late.
Hank, John will
Except
be late.
for Tia saying, back to it, folks, in reference to back to typing, John is going to be late.
Well, maybe the ones that started out with the word John, I skipped.
That's what it is. Which is all of them, to be fair. Danelle says, I think Danelle's way of phrasing it was the gentlest way. Dearest Hank, I write to inform you that John will be a touch late to record the pod today.
Well, I was, in fairness, I was a touch late to the live stream.
It's okay.
Yeah, my son is not.
Cameron wants me to tell the rack story. So I was in Ohio real quickly, Hank, and then you find questions.
You went to a racks without me?
No, I was going to go to a racks without you because I'm so committed to bits and I believe in being committed to the bit. But then in reality, what happened is that we drove to Columbus to see this art show that Sarah really, really wanted to see. So we drove 3 hours with our children who were not that thrilled about the idea of going to a museum on a Saturday to see this art show with this amazing artist, Nina Kachadorian, who made a series of artworks associated with this book that she was obsessed with as a child called Survive the Savage Sea, which is about a group of 5 people who survived on a lifeboat for 31 days. And she, at the beginning of quarantine, began to make an art series about it. And we were going to go see this art series. And then the next morning we were going to go to Racks. And Racks opened at 11 and we'd all planned it out. It's like a 45-minute drive from the Columbus Art Museum. And then the next morning we woke up and 2 things were happening. Well, first off, we got to Columbus and the art show was not available. Like the museum, it's one of those museums that's like owned by a rich person and it's only open to the public for like 26 minutes on a Wednesday. And it was supposed to be open, but it wasn't. This is in and of itself a different story, but like one of the greatest crimes, financial crimes of the 21st century is museums that are owned by rich people where they're only open to the public for 26 minutes a week, but all the rich people get to write off all the art that they buy as belonging to a museum, even though they're the only people who walk through the museum. Then we woke up the next morning and it was like snowing and it was wintry mixing. And Sarah was like, I'm not driving 45 minutes in the wrong direction after not seeing this art show to go to a Racks at 11 o'clock.
Like, you're not committed to the bit.
And then have a stomach ache for a 4-hour drive through wintry mix. I'm not going to do that. And so we didn't go to Racks.
It was an hour and a half of wintry mix for a stomach ache. But I don't know. If they have those cookies still, it'd be worth it. I can taste those cookies.
I can too. They're like a little underbaked.
Yes. You can put them back together again.
They're that kind of we would do that. We would like, and I remember, I have a vivid memory of like, we would get one cookie and then we would split it and we would like debate who had the bigger half.
Yeah, there was no way to do it down the middle because they were really like, you know,
they were so soft.
Irregular and it was very soft. Yeah.
And then my memory, and I assume that this is incorrect, but my memory is that I would always take the small half as an
of course you would, as the older brother. No,
that's my memory. Oh man, big shout out to whoever taught me how to not have my computer bing every time I get a text message. This is a game changer.
The family is texting a lot about this leprechaun.
Yeah.
Which I've looked now, I've compared the two. The only difference is that he has a pipe in the mausoleum.
But that, I mean, but isn't that in and of itself more revealing about the nature of the stained glass?
Yeah.
I was saying before that, like, you can't even see in the video the full extent of the insanity.
There's so much more of it. Yes, somebody needs to go.
There's the raccoon at the bottom of the rainbow who looks like he's like had a little too much to eat and drink. There's so much happening.
There's a lot happening.
It's one of the greatest works of art I've ever encountered.
This is how art museums should be.
Yes, they should be open to the public for free all the time, and they should always be in cemeteries, and the art should always be inside a mausoleum, and you are absolutely freaking shocked by what you see. Like the way that like Paris responded to the first show of the Impressionists in 1819 or whatever, that is the face that Hank was making as he turned away from the Bain Mausoleum after looking inside of it for the first time.
It's such a delightful juxtaposition.
Yeah, no, it's shocking. Christina says it's kind of like the Looking for Alaska cover. They removed the pipe in the logo. Remember how there was like a candle at the bottom of that cigarette smoke for the longest time in the Looking for Alaska cover, because Barnes and Noble wouldn't carry the book unless it had a candle, because they didn't want people to think it was about cigarette smoking, which of course it is.
They didn't want people to know before they opened the books.
Right. They wanted to like sell people the book under false pretenses.
Well, but there's a lot of cigarettes in the book, John.
I know. That's why I say it was false pretenses. Like, you buy the book thinking it's about an extinguished candle, and you're like, I'm pretty sure that's about how bad smoking is.
I mean, that's the thing about the smoke, John, is you don't know whether it's cigarette smoke or an extinguished candle.
Yeah, that's good. But when you have the candle, that's bad.
Then you know for sure.
Yeah.
Like what kind is it? Is it a message of self-destruction, or is it a message of destructive self? Like, which is it? And it's both. And like, that's great. And the candle is like, now it's not clever anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But it worked. It worked out okay. That book is still in print, astonishingly, even though.
Yeah. ...
Hold on. I mean, Hank, I can't wait until your books have been in print for 18 years and you have to grapple with that.
That's not going to happen.
It is going to happen.
It doesn't seem likely to me. Maybe it will. I don't know. I'd have to do more. They'd have to be doing better than they are right now. But maybe they will. Maybe they will be significant of a moment, or maybe they'll make a TV show out of it. Which
I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that. I don't know how that affects the life of
I want a TV show that's popular amongst a small group of the right people.
Yeah, honestly, that's how I feel about the Looking for Alaska show. Like, I'm really. I mean, I don't know if I can say this without sounding like I don't want to sound, but I'm really grateful that it was loved by the people it was loved by, and that it did not become sort of a center of pop culture thing.
Well, you've
seen what that good, and it got good reviews, and people liked it.
Yeah, I was just looking at I was going through an old hard drive and found a bunch of old footage from the Tifios movie premiere, and that was a different vibe than we are experiencing right now.
How so?
It was just like, like the barriers with the people leaning over and screaming, which is just sort of, which is like, that's how movie premieres are supposed to be, and they sort of manufacture that to some extent. But
only to some extent, though. I mean, the 2 or 3 times it's weird to say, but like, I've almost never been more afraid than I was at this Fault in Our Stars event in Miami that was completely out of control, and nobody was having a good time, and it was scary. It was really that was weird. That whole thing was so weird, man. Like, it feels like it happened to somebody else.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of good things came out of it. But geez, gosh, that was scary. Weird, surreal.
Yeah. I also, there was just a lot more sort of like, I don't know, there was a more particular energy of like enthused. Like, I was like, got a punch of one year it was like a whole thing on Tumblr. People would like do Nerd Fighter pumpkin carving, which very cool. And like, I saved a bunch of those. And like, that's not sort of the vibe anymore. Now we're like, okay, pumpkin carving, cool. Build hospital in Sierra Leone better, kind of vibe.
The vibe is definitely different. I will say, like, I find the creative expression in Nerdfighteria to be one of the most like rewarding and interesting and compelling parts of making stuff on the internet. And I think like some of the natures of like some of the, like the format of that creative expression has changed. You know, there's probably less pumpkin carving, but there, like I
Oh,
don't think
Santa
I'd
Claus
laughed
is still
harder
very,
this year
very
than
strong
seeing
here.
Alice's Snitza sneezing is never normal thing,
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
all that
yeah.
stuff. I just think is
Hmm.
really cool, and it's more that it's changed form, and then also that like the yeah, I mean there was something then that felt like you're on a train and you can't get off, and it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter if it's fun or not fun or good or not good because like
Yeah,
you can't get off the train. That
right.
was um definitely challenging at times, and I don't feel that as much. But I still feel it sometimes.
Oh yeah, I feel it like this time of year whenever we're doing budgets. I'm like, this is often fun, but I can't get off this train if it gets not fun. I
Yeah,
have
and the
to.
parts of it that are hard, and they're and they are hard, and that like we are lucky to have the hard things in our lives that we have in our lives. There are a lot harder hard things to have, but there's the
Mhm.
hard things for you are still hard.
Yeah,
Um, Several people have said
John.
that the Alaska show was gorgeous or good, which is nice to hear. Thank you. I
What,
didn't make it, but I also thought it was really lovely and sweet and the best of the book in a lot of ways.
I don't know what's going on in the chat, but I will reaffirm: do not carve penguins.
Not
Did
real
I say?
ones,
Did I accidentally say carve penguins?
maybe. Oh no, I think
Um,
it's a pumpkins and penguins thing.
of course it is. John, can we talk about NFTs for a second?
Must we?
So I just noticed that the Jim Henson Company is making NFTs from Labyrinth. And here's what I want to say about NFTs. I think they are neither as exciting or as bad as people think. I think that they are
Well, Hank,
probably.
that is the one opinion you cannot have on the internet. You
I
can
think
be
that
in favor of something or you can be opposed to it. You can't say that it's neither as good
I
nor
think
as
that they
bad as
may be
people are saying.
kind of like a little like I think that they literally might be as important as like baseball cards in the art market, which
Yes.
are parts of the economy.
Yeah. Those are markets with a lot of participants. I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't think that they're like when I think about the baseball card market, I don't think like this is essential to the
Yeah.
human story, really. Like like
Huh?
it's a weird like collecting is a weird thing that we do,
Yeah.
and I think
This
it's an interesting
we're
thing
doing
that
it
we
in a new
do.
way. Yeah.
But I don't think it's a super like when I think about like, well, what makes humans interesting? I don't think, well, we collect baseball cards.
Yeah. At the
And I
same
think, I
time,
mean, from what I can tell, listen, I think we should emphasize that we're not experts and we also suck at predicting the future
oh
if
yeah.
we're going to talk about NFTs. But I think personally, like, yeah, it seems like a vehicle for collections, which is important, but not that
Yeah.
important. I kind
Right.
of agree
And
with you. I was ready to disagree with you. Um,
I think a
because
lot of
like
what
the
they're
other thing is
doing.
like if you think about like I mean I find all this stuff super weird. Like I find it super weird that you can view the highest res image you would ever want to view of Van Gogh's Starry Night, right?
Right.
Like you can zoom in to details that you actually cannot see no matter how close your eyes are at the actual Met that you just will not be able to see when you go to the Mets website.
Yeah.
But you don't being able to
Yeah.
do that doesn't mean that you own Starry Night.
Or it doesn't even mean that you went to see it.
Yeah. But I
Like
do
you still haven't even seen it, even though
unsettled
you can
about is
see
the
it better on
extent
our
to
website.
which I am unsettled about the extent to which those experiences are equivalent or and I am unsettled about the relative value of those experiences. Like I'll tell we're actually going to talk about this probably in the podcast today, but like um when you actually go see Starry Night, if you go now, it's relatively doable. Like
Mhm.
usually it's like looking at the Mona Lisa, like you're not really looking at the Mona Lisa, you're looking at people looking at the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
But like if you go see Starry Night now, you can probably actually see it because there's all these like, you got to have a certain time that you go into the Met and it's relatively small and everything. But it's under glass. And like the whole thing that makes Van Gogh is the paint. Like, and by putting it under glass, it flattens it so much that, like, if you go to the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam, like, there's a lot of them are under glass, and those are like the good paintings because they're the ones that are impossible to ensure if they're not under glass. But then if you go to the ones that aren't under glass, that are the bad Van Goghs, you're like, these are incredible. Like, this is astonishing. So
you can like move around them a little more.
Yeah, you can see it from angles, so you can. But like increasingly, like that's going to happen with your Oculus,
Yeah.
And so, like I think the conversation that NFTs are trying. I mean, look, I think that all collecting on some level is a pyramid scheme, right? Like when you buy a baseball card, hoping that it increases in value, you are hoping that someday there will be somebody who is willing to pay more for that baseball card than you paid for it.
Yeah.
And not because its intrinsic value has changed, but because its perceived value has changed.
And that you would like to sell it for more than you think that it is worth. Like that's
right. Like the definition of being willing to sell a baseball card is that you are selling it for more than it is worth to you.
Yeah. So and I think that a lot of the reason why I think we oftentimes have a really visceral sort of anti-reaction to it is because like a lot of the excitement about it is about pure wealth speculation, where like the whole point of it is like not to create value, but to create wealth. So, and like divorcing, like I think that a lot of people have not even without even sort of understanding this context, they have a visceral sort of like distaste for something that creates wealth without creating value, which is kind of what it like. The creation of the initial art creates value, but the trading of the art kind of doesn't.
Except I don't think there's any kind of about it. No, I think that is I think that's an appropriate thing to be concerned about. Like,
but all this sort of
like honestly, like that's a little bit of the reason why I became attracted to the idea of signing so many copies of The Fault in Our Stars that people would stop trying to what I felt like was like what I felt like was like a collector's market that I didn't love existing.
Yeah, and then I went and ruined it by hankler fishing 5% of them and making those ones the valuable ones.
Yeah, but only within, to some extent, but only within Nerdfighteria. So like eBay people, like most eBay sellers did not understand the relative value of a hanklerfish, just to state the obvious.
You got to understand it on a deeper level, which is great. There is only one copy of Tifios.
By the way, it's at MoMA. It's at MoMA.
That's what I was looking it up and I was like, I can't find it. There's only one copy of The Fault in Our Stars with a hanklerfish and a yeti, and no one knows where it is. Probably owned by someone.
My favorite one is like the last review, the last sheet of the Anthropocene Reviewed that I signed. I wrote like a review of signing your name 250,000 times by hand on the sheet.
Yep.
And it went to a person in Charleston. I think I've probably told you this. It went to a person in Charleston, South Carolina, who has never heard of Nerdfighteria, has never seen a Vlogbrothers video, and did not understand anything about what they had, just liked my books. And was extremely confused, but thought it was nice.
Did they reach out to you? Did you like say please?
No, so like it was in a TikTok comment. This person wrote, "Did you write a review of signing your name 250,000 times on all of them?"
Yeah.
And I was like,
"Oh, so you did find them organically."
I was like, "No, I didn't, and I'm not totally sure I believe you that you don't know any of the backstory here." And then they uploaded a TikTok showing the book with that signature, and weirdly also showing a large wasp for scale.
Because you don't know the size of your book?
I don't know. I was like, why is there a very large wasp? But whatever. You know, I'm not here to judge.
Correct. Oh man. Well, part of my struggle this morning is I hadn't turned on my heater in my office when I usually do. So when you go home, I will be going inside to get a big puffy coat.
I think that the good news about that is that it will be easy to, you'll have plenty of time.
Yes.
You'll have plenty of time. You can get a signed copy of The Fault in Our Stars on eBay, by the way, for $17, which is a pretty good deal.
That's less than it cost to buy originally.
Yeah, I think it's about the exact same, but it comes with a free copy of Paper Towns. That's sort of how it's advertised, which I'll try not to take personally.
You also get this book that you didn't want.
It's a lot, you know, like that's how it works on eBay. People sell in lots.
Oh, I love buying a lot. I'm always searching for lots of weird things.
Oh God, I gotta buy Christmas presents. Thank you for reminding me.
I also have not got all of my Christmas presents.
I don't think Sarah and I are going to get each other Christmas presents this year, except for like gifts to PIH. I think that
Catherine got me a pretty good Christmas present, which is.
Oh yeah, we did that last year. We got each other really good presents, and then we were like, "Listen, this escalation has got to stop."
Like we'd had to do that for like Vlogbrothers Christmas presents a long time ago, where it was like, okay, so this one we spent $5,000 each, and we have to now stop.
Yeah. Now we're down to like, I think last year you sent me an old program for the Indianapolis 500 from like 1971, and I was like, well, Hank was on eBay and he got a lot, and one of the background things was an old copy of the program of the Indianapolis 500. Like he was getting it for, you know, like a 1971 episode of Nature, and it came with that.
That was part of the storage unit that I bought. I'm always at the storage unit auctions in town.
Oh man, that's one of my dreams. Like if I can have a second life, that's what I want to do. I know, but I'm a gambler, Hank. It's a terrible thing, but I love to gamble.
At what point in society would the auctions become a bigger part of the business than the storage units?
Like on the way down, you mean, on the civilization's demise?
Well, I was thinking more on like the rise, because like obviously
the rise of amount of stuff per the death rate. What's rising?
What's rising is the interest in that as a gambling type activity. So obviously, as storage wars became more popular, the number of people who thought to themselves, "I should go to that in my local town," went up. And as that went up, the market went up, and the amount that the storage unit companies were getting paid was going up. And I imagine probably headed back down by now. But if it had kept becoming more and more culturally relevant, there would be a point at which the entire, like the majority of the profit margin of the storage unit place is selling people stuff who've stopped paying their bills.
Right. I don't know the answer to that question, Hank.
But interesting question.
Also, I want to state for the record that I do not I do not gamble. I've not been to a casino in many years, and when I do go to a casino, I go with $100. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm out there like betting on. What do people bet on in the COVID era? Do they bet on?
Oh, I mean, sports and
sports
stuff.
How did I forget about sports betting when all the advertisements everywhere in every sport, in every soccer game are about sports betting?
Yeah, I really don't
seems so ludicrous to me to bet on sports, because like the whole point of sports is that you don't know. Right. I guess like what I like about gambling, and I know we have to go and we're already going to be late for the podcast, but what I like about gambling is pretending to be Pierre Vert from Paris and sitting at a table and playing blackjack. So it's very foreign to me to think like, oh, wow, You know what would make this AFC Wimbledon game more fun? If in addition to feeling anxious about the outcome on its own merits, I was also feeling anxious about the outcome on its financial merits.
I don't know who Pierre Vert is, but I think that I understand what you mean. And like my version of that is like waking up at a hotel and getting brunch, where I just feel sort of like, I'm this person.
Yeah, no, but I dress up and Sarah dresses up and we pretend to be other people.
Like at a you pretend to be Pierre Vert.
We've got life, we've got backstories. We work out our backstories and our connection to each other, and we're on our 7th marriage, and we've got a whole thing.
You're I guess is a whole okay. This is fun. When we were in Vegas together, the person who gambled improperly was not either of us.
I don't remember anybody gambling improperly. Say their initials.
I don't think I can, because even that people will probably be able to guess, because this person is a well-known person who.
Well, that clarifies it.
Yeah, you remember now.
I don't remember that at all.
Yeah, he had this.
Did that person have money then?
No.
Was it a thing where they doubled the roulette bet? I hate that. Why would you increase your stress like that?
And then he had to go to the machine. He had to go to the ATM to get more money.
I don't know why I don't remember that at all, but I don't. Maybe it's like
it was very intense for me.
I don't remember that at all. I don't have any memory of that happening. My relationship with the roulette table is that I go there, I hand the dealer $100, and then I leave the casino. So it's not a great experience for me.
Yeah, no, it's.
I like to at least have a Coca-Cola before they kick me out.
Sorry, Peyton did ask, and I asked the question and didn't answer it. Can we unlock each other's phones with Face ID? And I do not know the answer.
No, we can't. I tried to do it with Hank. I tried to do it because we were doing a question Tuesday. It's going to go up tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, I don't think our faces are really that close.
No.
Fine. Of course, I'm biased. I've been looking at my face
that I would like, and there are pieces of my face that I'm happy with.
I never think about it in that context.
Well, I not in that context, but I was just looking at your face and I was like, that guy's got a good, good chin. Nice chin, John.
Yeah, I don't love it, but I mean, I am going to have it for the rest of the time that I'm here.
Yeah. So you might as well get to love it. Anyway, it's 12:09.
Okay, we got to go. All right. Thank you for supporting the podcast and allowing Hank and I to ramble on. And most of all, thank you for reminding me to commit to the bit. And I'll tell you what, when I do go to Rax, it's going to be incredible.
I really wish I could go with you.
There are a lot of people who point out that we talked extensively about Pierre Vert in the past, and yet somehow that's one of the great things about our lives together is that Hank and I just repeat the same stories over and over again. We never get tired of telling each other the same story. All right.
I don't remember this. Okay.
DFTBA. Bye, y'all.
Bye.